Hello everyone, this is Andrew from Crown Academy of English. Today's lesson is about either and neither. So, the pronunciation. First of all, either. So this is the usual pronunciation, either. But there is also either. Okay, so you can say either or either. So which one do you choose? Well, in British English, either is more common. And in American English, either is more common. And it's the same with this word. So neither or neither. And neither is most common in British English, and neither is most common in American English. So for this video, I'm going to be using the British English pronunciation. Either and neither. First of all, either with a singular countable noun. And this means one or the other when we are talking about two things. That's very important for this whole lesson. Either and neither, we are usually talking about only two things. Claire asks, what flavour ice cream do you want? Chocolate or vanilla? And John replies, either flavour is fine, thanks. Either flavour is fine. So this means that John does not have a preference. This means that for John, chocolate is okay and vanilla is also okay. Okay, so one or the other. So it's either followed by a singular countable noun. And notice that the verb is also in the singular form, third person singular. Mark says, do you want to go to the beach on Saturday or Sunday? And Jane replies, I don't mind. Either day is okay. Either day is okay. Okay, so one or the other. Saturday or Sunday is fine. And again, we have the singular form of the verb, third person singular, because the noun is singular. We can also say either without a noun. So sometimes we use either as a pronoun in a very short answer. The meaning is the same, one or the other, when there are two things. Same question. What flavour ice cream do you want, chocolate or vanilla? And we can simply reply, I don't mind, either. So here we're saying either without a noun, okay, just by itself. And it just means, I don't mind, I have no preference, okay? Either of followed by an object pronoun. Again, same meaning, one or the other when there are two things. Claire asks, are you going to vote for Labour or Conservative? And John replies, I am not going to vote for either of them. Either of them. Okay, so here we have the object pronoun. This is the third person plural, them. Okay, so I am not going to vote. This means I am not going to vote for Labour and I am not going to vote for Conservative. Okay, I'm going to vote for someone else. Do you support Manchester United or Manchester City? And Mark replies, I don't support either of them. I support Dortmund. So again, I don't support either of them. Third person plural, object pronoun. So this means I don't support Manchester United and I don't support Manchester City. Okay, either of them. In the negative. This is also in the negative. Either of followed by a determiner. Again, it's the same meaning. So we use either of before a determiner. For example, the word the, these, those, or a possessive adjective. For example, my, her, his, their. Here is the form, either of, determiner, and then followed by a plural form of the noun. Very important, a plural form of a noun. And so it is this lady who is speaking. I would like either of my children to visit me in hospital. So this lady has 2 children, because remember, we only use either of when we are talking about 2 things. So she's saying, I would like either of my children to visit me in hospital. So my first child or my second child. I would like one of them to visit me in hospital. And here she is with her daughter. Okay, either of my children. So here we have the possessive adjective. This is the determiner. And this is the plural form of the noun. This is an irregular plural of the noun child. Let's look at an example with a regular noun. I don't like either of those cars. I don't like either of those cars. So this means I don't like that car, and I also do not like that car. So in the plural, it is I don't like either of those cars. Those cars. Okay? And here, yes, we have the plural form of the noun. Either or. We use this to express a choice between 2 possibilities. So here are 2 friends watching football on television, and here are the same friends playing video games. So they are saying we can either watch the football match on TV or play video games. So we can either do this or do this. Okay, so either or. It's a choice between 2 possibilities. And this is the father speaking. And here we're using an imperative form. We're giving an order. Either do your homework or go to bed. Okay, so the father is giving an instruction, an order. Do your homework or go to bed. So we have either or. Either this action or this action. Either can also mean each in 2 expressions. So it only means each in these 2 expressions that I'm going to give you now. So the first expression, on either side. This means on each side. Example: there are trees on either side of the road. So there are trees on either side of the road. So this means there are trees on each side of the road. The second expression is at either end. At either end. And this means at each end. There is a goal at either end of the pitch. So this means there is a goal at each end of the pitch. Here and here. Okay, so it only means each for these specific expressions. Before we continue, please give the video a like and subscribe to my channel. Okay, let's continue. Not something something either. So after a first negative, we can add another negative with not something either. Example: Mark isn't working today. So he's not working today. Jane isn't working either. So this means, what does this mean? This means Mark isn't working today and Jane isn't working today. Okay, so both of them, Mark isn't working and Jane isn't working. But with the second one, we can use either. So we say Jane isn't working either. Okay, so we have NT, this is the contracted form of not, and we have either after the verb. So this is correct. But this is a common mistake. Okay, so we do not say this, Jane isn't working also. No, this is a very common mistake, but this is wrong. And we do not say Jane isn't working too. No, that's wrong. So when you have two people or two things, when you have the second negative, we say either. Okay, an added negative, you use either, not also and not too. Okay. A common example, John says, I don't trust you. And Claire says, I don't trust you either. So this is the first negative. After a first negative, this is the first negative, and this is the second negative. And so with the second negative, we use not and either. So this is the contracted form of not. So John is saying, I don't trust you, and Claire is also saying, I don't trust you. Okay, so we say, I don't trust you either. And this is wrong. I don't trust you also, and I don't trust you too is also a big mistake. Let's look at neither. So neither followed by a singular countable noun. It means not one and not the other. Again, when there are two things. Mark says, can I have an appointment for next Monday or Tuesday? And the secretary replies, sorry, neither day is possible. Neither day is possible. So we have neither, a singular countable noun, and the verb in the singular form. So this means no, sorry, Monday is not possible and Tuesday is not possible. Okay, so neither day is possible. Neither dog likes the cat. Neither dog likes the cat. So what does this mean? First of all, the form, neither, singular countable noun, and the verb again in the singular form, third person singular, likes. So what does this mean? Well, again, there are two dogs. So the first dog does not like the cat, and the second dog does not like the cat. So we say neither dog likes the cat. We can also have neither without a noun. So we use neither as a pronoun in a short answer. And again, this means not one and not the other when there are two things. Coming back to our usual example with the ice creams. Here's the question, chocolate or vanilla? And John says neither. So what does this mean? Well, this means that John does not want chocolate and he does not want vanilla. Okay, so this is neither without a noun. Okay, neither of followed by an object pronoun. Again, not one and not the other when there are two things. Here's the form: neither of, object pronoun, and a verb. So we have two houses. This is house 1 and this is house 2. Now, there are two rules here. The verb, so the verb here, it takes a singular form in strict English. Okay, so in strict grammar, the verb is in the singular form. Example: I visited 2 houses, but neither of them was big enough. Neither of them was big enough, because was is the third person singular of the verb be in the past tense. Okay, so neither of them, this is the object pronoun, and the verb in the singular form in strict grammar, okay, with strict English. However, it is very common that you will hear people giving the verb in a plural form, and this is more informal, and it is actually very common. Okay, so I'm giving you both options. So here you would say, I visited 2 houses, but neither of them were big enough, because were is the third person plural of the verb be in the past tense. Okay, so my advice is, if you're doing an English exam and it's a grammar exam and you want to be perfectly correct, use this. Okay, use the strict English rule of putting this verb in the singular form, the third person singular. However, you will often hear this, okay, the verb in the plural form. Neither of followed by a determiner. It's the same meaning, so not one and not the other when there are 2 things. And we use neither of before a determiner, so again it is the, these, those, and some possessive adjectives. Here is the form: neither of followed by a determiner followed by a plural form of the noun and then the verb. Again, it's the same rule. The verb here takes a singular form in strict English. Okay, so here, neither of my parents is lazy. So neither of, here we have the determiner, this is a possessive adjective. Parents, this is in the plural form with an S, but in strict English we have the verb in the singular, third person singular form, is lazy. Okay, because we're talking about each parent individually. Okay, collectively there are 2 parents, but individually we are talking about them individually, so we say is. However, in common, more informal English, the verb will often take a plural form. So you will often hear this: neither of my parents are lazy. Okay, so this is okay, this is acceptable in spoken informal English. In fact, many native English speakers do not even know this rule. I'm sure that many native speakers who are not teachers like me probably do not even know this rule. Okay, so you will hear this a lot. Okay, neither of my parents are lazy. So again, neither of, possessive adjective, noun in the plural, and also the verb in the plural. But in correct English, the verb is in the singular. Neither or the word nor. We can use neither or nor as adverbs. And the meaning is also not. Okay, so we are sort of agreeing with a negative. So this is the form neither or nor, and we'll see both examples. Then followed by the auxiliary verb in the affirmative and then the subject. So notice that the order here is inverted, because normally you have the subject first and then an auxiliary verb. But here it is the auxiliary verb and then the subject. Example. Mark says, I wouldn't like to live in London. Okay, so notice this is a negative. I wouldn't like to live in London. And Jane is agreeing. Okay, so that's what this means. Jane is saying the same thing. Jane is saying also, I wouldn't like to live in London. Neither would I. So neither, and then we convert the auxiliary verb, we convert it from the negative into the affirmative. Okay, so the auxiliary verb in the affirmative now, and then the subject. So the subject is obviously I, because Jane is talking. So Jane is agreeing. Jane is saying, yes, I wouldn't like to live in London also. But we don't say also. Also is wrong. So we say neither would I. Okay. Claire doesn't drink alcohol, and neither does David. Claire doesn't drink alcohol, neither does David. Sorry, here. This is the alternative. Nor would I. So it's exactly the same, but we use nor instead of neither. So both of these are correct, and you can choose which one you want to use. Personally, I prefer neither. So this example, Claire doesn't drink alcohol, and neither does David. So this means Claire doesn't drink alcohol, and David does not drink alcohol. Okay, neither does David. Neither. Then we convert the negative auxiliary verb into the affirmative, does, and then we add the subject, David. And the form with nor, Claire doesn't drink alcohol, and nor does David. Okay, so it's the same but with nor. Neither something nor. And we use neither nor to connect two or more negative alternatives. So Mark has neither the desire nor the energy to go to the party. Okay, so he's tired and he doesn't want to go. Okay, and we're using the same example, and when singular subjects are connected by neither nor, the verb is usually singular. So here's the subject. The subjects are Claire and David in the singular. So we use the verb in the singular form. Neither Claire nor David drinks alcohol. Okay, neither nor. Okay, so this is connecting the subjects, and so we have the verb in the singular, third person singular, drinks. However, in more informal English, we put the verb in the plural form. So neither Claire nor David drink alcohol. Okay, so this is what you will hear quite a lot. Okay, this is more usual. In fact, this is quite common. But the strict rule is this. Okay, so there we are for either and neither. This was a very long lesson. It's quite complicated, so I recommend you watch the video several times. So there we are. That's the end. And here are some other videos I recommend you watch.